Today I'm in Ludington for a self-guided walking tour. In here are some of the historic sites of the area. Some of them are places that are brand new to me and others that I frequent often. Since I have this with me, it's going to provide more information about each one of these stops and enhance my interaction with some of these historic sites. Let's go.
It's easy to walk through downtown Ludington without realizing that almost every block has a story behind it. A hotel built by a lumber baron, a courthouse that served the county for more than a century, and a church that's now an art center. A map, a pretzel, and a plan. That's where our journey is starting, right here at Legacy Plaza. In this guide, one name starts showing up again and again: Justus Stearns. He arrived in Ludington in 1876 as the lumber industry was booming. And through his investments, businesses, and vision for the growing city, he became one of the people most responsible for shaping the downtown that's still here today. Particularly, this building right here was originally constructed by Stearns as the National Bank of Ludington. Sure, the businesses inside have changed over the years, but more than a century later, the building still anchors this part of downtown. Just a few steps away is probably one of his most recognizable contributions, the Stearns Hotel. Completed in 1903, it was built after Stearns decided that Ludington needed a hotel that reflected the city's growing success.
Well, several sites were under construction for the location of this hotel. The site on this corner of Ludington Avenue and Rose Street was eventually selected.
It soon became one of West Michigan's premier hotels, with travelers arriving by rail and steamship. More than 100 years later, many of its original architectural details are still easy to spot. What stands out isn't that these buildings survived. They're part of everyday life. Grabbing coffee, meeting friends, shopping. It's easy to walk the same streets without always realizing how much of downtown traces back to this one guy. For example, this right here, Legacy Plaza. It once was a one-way street that is now the modern heart of downtown. It's one of the newest stops on the tour, but it continues a tradition that's been going on here for generations, bringing people together in the center of the city. As we keep walking, I'm starting to notice something. Many of Ludington's historic buildings aren't just here to look at. They're still doing the exact same thing as what they were built to do. The Mason County Courthouse was completed in 1894.
The building, which utilized sandstone from the Upper Peninsula as well as dark red brick in its construction.
I thought I recognized that sandstone. That's hometown sandstone.
More than 130 years later, it's still the center of the county government.
I love the connection of things in Michigan, reading about the courthouse. The architect is from Grand Rapids, and then there's Upper Peninsula sandstone, and that's pretty great. Everything's connected.
The post office tells a similar story. It opened in 1933, and nearly a century later, people are still walking through these doors to mail packages and pick up letters.
How much do you think that the cost of the building was? $80,000, $135,000, or $450,000?
$450.
$135,000.
Wow.
What a deal.
Now I want to show off one of my favorite examples, the Ludington Public Library.
It was constructed largely on the behest of the Pure Marquette Literary Club, who worked to obtain a grant from the Andrew Carnegie Institute. I'm learning so much.
Oh, and then I like this. Look, we've got more information.
The inside has changed over the years, but its purpose really hasn't. It's still a place built around learning and bringing the community together. But not every historic building is doing the same job as it was built for. Some survived by finding entirely new purpose. This building began as a church, and when the congregation eventually moved, the building found new life as the Ludington Area Center for the Arts. Today, it hosts exhibits, performances, workshops, still bringing people together under the same roof. A few blocks away, another building tells a similar story. What is now Jamesport Brewing Company was originally built as a hotel and saloon in the beginning of the 1890s. Travelers once checked in here for the night, and today, people gather for dinner and a locally brewed beverage. That's something that I appreciate about walking through Ludington.
I'm enjoying this stroll because typically for you and I, we're outdoors in a different way in Ludington, on trails or on the beach or near the water, and this is just a different view of one of our favorite places.
To understand why the city grew here in the first place, it's worth getting in the car and heading towards the waterfront. The buildings tell one part of the story, Lake Michigan tells the rest. Just down the road, the Port of Ludington Maritime Museum reminds us that this community has always been tied to the lake. On the same stretch of Pure Marquette Lake is Waterfront Park. Its sculptures blend Ludington's history with everyday life. While overlooking the harbor, I can see one of the city's most recognizable landmarks, the SS Badger. Built in 1952 to carry rail cars across Lake Michigan, the Badger now carries passengers and vehicles between Michigan and Wisconsin. Watching it arrive and depart has become part of the Ludington experience itself. Here, she is passing the North Breakwater Light. The North Breakwater Light is visually stunning with its asymmetrical design that resembles the bow of a ship standing on the edge of Lake Michigan. From here, it's easy to imagine the ships that relied on this light to safely enter Ludington Harbor through the changing weather and rough water. The light is the most notable feature on the horizon as we enjoy Stearns Park, a long stretch of Lake Michigan shoreline maintained for everybody to enjoy, where the history becomes more about the landscape itself. The beach, the harbor entrance, the open lake, together they explain why people continue to gather in this part of Ludington. The big final stop here is about 6 miles north of downtown. It's the Big Sable Point Lighthouse located inside of Ludington State Park. Standing more than 100 feet tall since 1867, it's one of Michigan's most recognizable lighthouses. Reaching it takes a walk through the dunes, but when the trees open up and the lighthouse comes into view, it's a reminder that Ludington will remain steadfast on the edge of Lake Michigan, ready to be enjoyed. Following Ludington's historic tour made me realize that the city's story isn't confined to just downtown or one building. It stretches from brick buildings to the harbor to the beaches, the lighthouses that stand watch over Lake Michigan. Some places have changed. Others are still serving the same purpose they were originally built for. Together, they tell the story of a community, and I think that's what makes Ludington such an enjoyable place to explore. History is part of everyday life.
I would call that a craft soft pretzel. Yeah. I've been in there.
What is it?
I brought my nieces and nephews in there. That's the Sandcastles, the Children's Museum.
Like, that's so cute.
So this is just a baby gallery?
Yeah. Tiny Works Boundless Imagination, it says.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Those are like Jerry's music here.
Oh, I'm so happy with this. So the Friends of Ludington State Park, the amphitheater has music that's free. I bet we can catch the end of this.